I've been playing the Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era demo for about 10 hours or so far, and in this video I wanted to share my first impressions of the game. So, I have to say, right from the get-go, that this is quite an interesting attempt at a Heroes game. So it's quite good, and it's probably going to be considered one of the better Heroes games out there. So that's pretty nice, and I especially like that they didn't just try to replicate, let's say, Heroes 3, which is the most successful one, right? They took some elements from most Heroes games, maybe except for Heroes 1. So they took almost all the best ideas from the other Heroes games. So that is quite interesting. Now, they also improved on certain aspects of the game, so that is kind of interesting. So let me just focus on the major changes that I've seen that are quite interesting and offer maybe more replayability, let's say. So the first thing that I've noticed is that the Mage Guild is a bit improved, let's say, from other games, meaning that whenever you go for a Mage Guild, you have a random distribution of spells. You build your first level Mage Guild, and you get, I don't know, let's say 4 spells or something like that. 4 spells out of however many there are, like 13 or something like that. So the thing is that in other Heroes games, it's kind of RNG dependent if you get something that you really want, except for maybe the Magic Arrow, which has a very high likelihood of happening. But if you really want to get a specific spell to enable some preconceived tactic that you had in mind, then it's a little bit RNG dependent in other games. Let's say you want specifically anti-magic or something like that from the Mage Guild level 3, but you don't get it. Well, that's kind of bad, because then you need to switch up your strategy to try to counter some very high-level spellcasters or something like that. I don't know, let's say, just as an example. But here, the change that they've made is that even if you get unlucky with those spells that you get from a Mage Guild, you can still get the one that you want if you just pay extra resources, like, I don't know, crystal, gems, whatever, So that's kind of interesting, because it's less limiting and less RNG dependent. So that's kind of a nice addition, I would say. It offers more possibilities, and it's maybe less frustrating whenever, you get super unlucky, but the enemies get lucky. Obviously, there's an opportunity cost, like if you use some resources to get a spell, and the enemies don't use those resources because they've gotten lucky with their spells, obviously they still have some sort of an advantage over you. But you can't beat luck necessarily, but it's still nice that they've added this change. So anyway, and also in the Mage Guild, another thing that they've added is that once you unlock a certain amount of spells, at least that's what I've seen, in each Mage Guild, you have a neutral spell that's unlocked once you unlock a ton of other spells. Meaning that, let's say, in the 5th level Mage Guild, if you have unlocked a ton of spells in the whole Mage Guild, then you eventually unlock a guaranteed dimension door. So it's not RNG dependent, it's not based on resources necessarily, it's just you eventually get dimension door for sure. At least that's what I've seen, but I might be wrong here. I need to play it more. But anyway, so that's a nice addition. I think that this is quite good. Now, another thing that I've seen in this game is that they've added a thing called law points, and this means that those buildings that, would be the equivalent of, let's say, a town hall, a city hall, or a capital in Heroes 3, for example. So these buildings that give you money, essentially. These also give you something called law points. And these accumulate, and every once in a while you get some points, or let's call them charges. I don't know what they're called exactly, but still. Once you get enough points, you get a level in this law thing, I don't know. And you get some points that you can use to gain some advantages in your whole empire. So that's kind of interesting, because you can get, for example, resource, let's say, benefits or army benefits, meaning that the army benefits would be, if you're a temple faction, you can use these law charges or points or whatever to improve some of your creature growth or creature stats. Like, for example, you can go for elite crossbowmen or something like that, which increases the growth of crossbowmen in your entire empire by, I don't know, some specific amount per week. And also they gain some stats like speed, initiative, I don't know, attack, something like that, So that's kind of interesting, and it offers more possibilities for you to make a specific strategy. So that's nice. Or you can get some resource benefits, which would mean, I don't know, you get 1 gem per day, 1 extra guaranteed gem per day, or I don't know, you can gain some specific resources that you need, a one-time bonus of resources if you really want to, or if you really press pressed for time. That's kind of interesting. So that's nice. With these law points, you can also get, I don't know, more morale. You can increase the initiative of all your creatures, as far as I've seen. So it's you have a ton of options as well. That's kind of interesting. So these law points are just basically guaranteed once you build these upgraded versions of these buildings, let's say. So that's kind of nice. Or also, obviously, if you get more towns, you get even more law points, so you can gain a specific advantage over time. So that's quite interesting as well. It allows for a bunch of synergies, let's say. Okay. Now, what else? Well, I've seen during the combat, there's also another addition that I don't think I've seen in other Heroes games at all, which is a focus bar, which is this, which is divided into 3 parts, and once you fill up a third of this bar, you get a focus charge, right? Or it's like a gem or something like that, which can be used for specific abilities or for your hero's normal attack. It's like, I don't know, let's say hero's 6, in a sense. Your hero can have a normal attack as well, and also cast spells and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. So the normal hero attack costs 1 focus charge, as far as I've seen, but also the creatures have some abilities that they can use that cost some of these charges. You can have 3 charges max at any moment in time, and this bar is filled once your creatures take some actions, like they deal damage, they suffer damage, or some other abilities of the hero can gain charges and stuff like that. There are probably many possibilities to fill up that bar. But anyway, or there are some spells like Energize that give you that specifically give you 2 charges or something like that. So that's kind of interesting because it's you can get other abilities without losing a turn, in a sense. Because let's say the crossbowmen from the Temple faction, which is what I've played so far. The crossbowmen can use 2 of those focus charges to boost themselves, to give themselves an ability called, or a buff called Find Bolts, which makes the crossbowmen deal 20% more damage for 2 turns, I'm pretty sure. So that's interesting. So they can just buff themselves, they don't lose the turn, they just consume those focus charges, and then they can shoot immediately with that buff. That's nice as well, because it's an it's not necessarily improvement, but it's different than Heroes 3, in the sense that, in Heroes 3, you can have some creatures that have some specific abilities, like the Master Genie, let's say, that can buff or can cast a beneficial spell onto somebody else in the army. But the thing is that if you gain control of the Master Genie and you cast a spell, that's it, that's the turn. You can't attack also with that Genie unless you get good morale. But here, it's not how it works. You can activate an ability and you don't lose the turn, even though, well, there are some abilities that are so strong that they do lose you the turn, but that's not the case all the time. Most buffs, as far as I've seen, they don't consume your turn, so you can still attack afterwards or move or whatever you want to do with that unit, or even wait, actually, So that's kind of interesting as well. There are some of these abilities that consume focus charges that allow the ranged units to move away, and then they can be able to shoot. Like, for example, the Medusas have a thing called Slither Away. So if somebody is attacking them, right, a melee unit is blocking the Medusa from shooting, right, that's kind of a bad situation to be in. But you can use that Slither Away to just move a bunch of hexes, and then you don't lose the turn, so you can just shoot again. You can shoot. So that's interesting, because I know I'm speaking to everybody probably that in other Heroes games, you wish you would have had like 2 turns with these ranged units to just get out of the way and then shoot as well, or I don't know, hope for a good morale or something like that. So anyway, that's a nice addition as well. I like the focus bar and these focus charges with all the abilities and such. So overall, I think that this game has massive replayability. So that's quite nice. So that's why I do believe it's going to be considered one of the better Heroes games out there. I'm not sure, in a competition against 3, I'm not sure how this is going to play out. We'll see. Like, 3 is so good that it's probably very difficult to surpass, but I guess we'll see anyway. And compared to the other Heroes games, maybe it's still, probably better than 2. I mean, very close to Heroes 3 as far as I've seen Olden Era would be. But that doesn't, I mean, I'm not the type of person who would overhate any Heroes game. Like, from my point of view, Heroes 1 is the worst one, or the least good one, but it's still okay-ish. You can play it. But the other ones, I don't overhate, like Heroes 6, Heroes 7. No, man, Heroes 4, I've heard on the internet that people didn't like it, but I don't know. I think it's okay. I'm more lenient towards every Heroes game. From my point of view, there's no bad Heroes game. There are just some that are better than others. And Olden Era, I would say that is probably in the top, probably 3, something like that from what I've seen so far. But I really need to play it more. Who knows? Maybe in time I'm gonna start to discover the drawbacks or some disadvantages that it has. Maybe it's not balanced at all, even though even that's not necessarily that much of a factor. Because Heroes 2, for example, is one of my favorite Heroes games, and it's not balanced at all. But I don't care, because it's not like it's not like I play PvP or something like that, or, you know, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, overall, Heroes Olden Era, pretty good attempt at a Heroes game, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the early access for sure. I feel like I'm missing something that I wanted to mention, but still. The negatives, by the way. Then the negatives, so far, I haven't seen anything that really stands out that much. It's just maybe more of a speculation on my part. I do believe that there are some abilities that are just, or sub-skills that are just unpredictable, and they might feel unfair. But that's just what I believe right now, but it's kind of, I'm not sure if that's really the case. But there are some sub-skills that, for example, would reduce the enemy's, let's say, spell level, or something like that. Like, you know, you have these spell levels, for example, let's say you have a normal bless, which, you know, increases the damage that somebody would deal, but, or a unit would deal. So you can increase this level based on your, what is it, like daylight magic level or something like that, or through some other abilities, or even through those law points, or maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, you can increase these things, even with artifacts and such. You can increase the power of that bless. It's almost as if you have multiple ways to get. You know how in Heroes 3 you have like a basic, advanced, and expert level for each spell based on your school of magic, or whatever you're specialized in? Well, here, it seems that you have multiple options to increase these levels. But anyway, the problem is that there are some abilities that seem to reduce that spell level for the enemy. And that's fine, I guess, against the AI, but I'm thinking that in PvP, it could feel a little bit unfair, because there's no way to predict that. Or it's just maybe a guessing game, but it doesn't feel like it's that fair, because, you know, let's say in Heroes 3, there are some units that have some effect that would be applied onto the enemies, let's say. So I'm pretty sure the Bone Dragon reduces the morale of the enemies by 1 or something like that, right? Okay, that's fine. But the thing is, you know that, and you know it's a guaranteed thing. Like, if you see the enemy, okay, this guy has Bone Dragons, all right, I need to prepare myself for that morale being reduced. Okay, so you know that for sure. But here, I don't know, like, you could have a strategy in mind. Okay, I have these daylight spells or something like that, or I don't know, primal magic, and I have a specific level, but then I fight somebody, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, now I don't have a mass version of whatever spell, because my level is lower because of the sheer presence of this hero. Like, how could you even predict that? But to be fair, that's why I'm saying that I'm not so sure about this, because even artifacts kind of do that as well, right? Isn't that true? But I would say it feels fairer to just be able to buff yourself more, rather than debuffing permanently and yeah, right from the get-go, the opponents. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. Maybe it's going to feel a little bit unfair, because I'm not even sure how you can even play around that. Like, okay, I'm going to fight against this guy, and I need to consider all the possibilities. Okay, my morale might be reduced because of his law points or something like that. My primal magic might be reduced because he has primal magic. The cost of my spells might be increased because he has, I don't know, expert resistance with a specific sub-skill. Like, give me a break, man. You know, what is this? But I'm not sure. It depends. Maybe I'm too much of a casual, but, you know, maybe the more hardcore players will say, oh, you know what? No, not only is that's not bad, but maybe it's actually good. You know, it's a pretty interesting. I don't know. But that being said, overall, I think that Olden Era is a very good game. Even in this state, you know, it's not even in early access. It's like, what even is it? Is this a beta? I think so. I do believe so. But anyway, it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing the next factions as well, and even playing with the other ones. Like what didn't I play with? The dungeon, I think, and the necropolis. So I need to see those as well. So yeah. Anyway, it's quite interesting, quite complex. Definitely pretty difficult to master. Well, even a little bit hard to learn as well. Maybe for new players it's quite overwhelming, but if you go for a normal difficulty or something like that, or even easy as a new player, you're gonna be fine probably. Or even, yeah, maybe if the campaign is gonna be just gradually getting harder and harder, then it's gonna be okay. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so overall, pretty good game. I'm looking forward to the early access and then the final release. And well, I guess that was it. Please let me know in the comments what your experience has been with the demo, or if you didn't try it already, it's free on Steam, so you can give it a try as well. So anyway, I'll see you next time.